Just gonna refresh. Good. Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm listening in silence. I mean, I'm listening to the silence. A bit sad. And a bit, it's an anticipation. It's not looking for something or anticipating some kind of form or shape, but I feel that there is something happening, that there is an occurrence, and I'm anticipating, I'm like listening to it. Okay, and I'm saying again, it's not only joyous, it's not only good in the sense of making one happy, or but it's there.
Today is our 6th session in our series. We called it Omen. This is how we named the book we're currently writing, currently for 2 years, because it's an ongoing investigation, it's an ongoing research, very, very intimate, very inside life that we're doing. And like I said in our last meeting, it's quite scary to speak out, to share out. And I think especially hard to write, like to type, because then it's there. When you're ongoing, because we're not making conclusions, but we are documenting our insights, our experience. And now we've reached the part in the book that we call the lab. This is where we're standing with everything we have, and we say, okay, this is where we got to. This is what we've learned so far. This is what we've seen. This is what we think we maybe understood. And from here, how do we continue? Or how do we, even before how do we continue, how do we even stand here? And this is what you're saying when I asked you how you are. What you're saying is a bit this place. You're standing in silence, knowing that something is occurring, something is happening, but not exactly yet know what and how to go about it. Is this the right connection that I make, or you see something?
No, I think there's something inaccurate, and I think it's important, especially for that book. And while we were writing, you were raising this issue again and again of what is the mandate that we're speaking from? Who appointed us to say things or to determine things? And it was very important during the writing to really reflect on that question, because on the one hand, we're not coming to say that this is, especially in the lab, once we start exploring and really grasping the magnificence and the far out implications of what we've just seen, that we're not trying to say that this is the right answer. But on the other hand, because the revelation is the thing that's important, the understandings that come along once you really inquire into something, or you wish to really explore and to see beyond your thoughts and beyond the social structure. Then what do you see? So the answer is not the thing that's important, but the exploration and the ability to stand, and that's the book, to stand at a moment in life, yeah, and just say, okay, let's hang the running shoes, let's look ourselves in the eye, let's stop the effort, and then see what is occurring today, what is showing itself to us. And what we'll be seeing is not always beautiful. And what we'll see is sometimes it's very far from what we wish things to be and how we wish them to occur. But on the other hand, there is something that's full of freedom and truthfulness, honesty, sincerity that come forward, and that they construct the space that we'll be living out of from now on. Okay, from now on, meaning until the next time we'll hang our running shoes, we'll let the effort go, we'll breathe a bit, we'll cry, and then once we are washed from the old, we'll be able to see the new. Okay, which is not the answer, but it is very important to see because that's where we're at. That's where we've brought ourselves to be at. And this is also what this is where the gates to more revelation will appear or are there waiting for us to pay attention to. Okay, so we're not just inquiring like we've gone through a lot. I've coached thousands of people. You've gone through a lot and you brought yourself to different realms of being, different, whether it's in arts, whether it's with men, whether it's with coaching, and more. You've lived in different places in your life. You've experienced belonging to different environments, different populations, different cultures. So there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of responsibility woven into this place where we're standing at. We're looking straight in the eye to the way that it is today. And from there, we are learning. From there, we're exploring. And from there, and only from there, revelation can appear, not from our minds and the story it tells us about ourselves and the world. Okay, that's this book. That's why it's Omen, because it's like, it's a sigh. Sometimes it's a sigh of sadness, of grief even, and sometimes it's a sigh of love or joy or hope. But it is a sigh. The exclamation mark after the Omen is there for us to listen to that sigh better and not to try to be strong or to feel devastated or run by our life as if we were run by a truck. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We're saying, here I am. Okay, and from there.
One of my good friends is currently falling in love. And we were talking about how it will develop, or how it can develop, this relationship between him and the woman. And I was very careful with what I said about, for example, how long can it last? The magic. The magic that holds us together for a certain time. It's a bit like being high. You know, and you don't know, but I'll tell you that when you're in a club, when you're partying and you're high, you are kept in the fun. And as long as you're high, you want to stay. And in a way you can stay. And when the high is over, sometimes you'll be like, okay, it's time. I'm tired. It's time to go home. And you go home. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, that was so much fun. I want more. And you'll take more. And I know people that can party for 20 hours. And sometimes when the high is gone, you're looking around you and you say, oh my God, how am I here? This is horrible. But you're protected. As long as you're dazzled, yeah, you're in the charm, you are protected in a way that you're safe, you're good. I hope she's okay.
I'm sorry, I can't seem to get out of that call. It persists. I'm with you, sorry.
I'm happy you're okay. I got a bit worried.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So what I'm recently asking myself is, first of all, what is this magic of being in love? And I'm not even talking about the 3 first months. It can last.
So why are you calling it magic? because I think that the thing that we are speaking of is more the real relationship. It's not the falling in love. It's not where you're kept. It's where you need to generate this. It's where you need to know where you're coming from and to really be there. Yeah, not kept by something. That's a period of grace. So unless I'm missing something that you're saying.
No, you're not. That's where I'm going to. Like, I'm asking what happens when the magic is gone and you are left with, as if it's not good enough, you're left with what is. Like, let's continue with comparing this to the party. So you're left with maybe music that is not so good. Maybe the club is pretty dirty. Maybe the people are not exactly who you plan them to be. But you're here. You're here. And are you going home? Are you taking another pill? Or are you sitting in the corner and hiding? Or are you saying, okay, hello, that's where I'm at. That's my life. I chose to come here. And here I am. And many of us don't know what to do in this situation, inside a relationship. The needs have changed. The desires have changed. Fears are coming that were not there before because the circumstances have changed. And the glam is not glamoring now. It doesn't mean it won't glam in the future, but now it's not glamorous. What do I do? And what is relationship from here? If we're not forcing another glam, if we're not forcing anything.
Yeah. So if I'm taking it from there, the first thing to know is that I'm going to encounter myself through the other, meaning whether I like it or not, whether that's what I signed for or not, the moment that this magic that holds with it the promise that here I have whatever I always needed, then he starts snoring, and she is persistent and insisting on things and doesn't let go. And there, the encounter of me with myself begins. It's not something mystical, it's something very day to day, everyday, moment by moment thing. And when that happens, we go usually to the strategies that we've mentioned, or the illusions, or misconceptions that we've gone through very thoroughly in the book. Okay, we go to our default positions, we rely on our basic assumptions as we understood or concluded them along life. And from there, we begin to react. We begin to interpret. We begin to act, and then receive the reaction from the other person, our spouse or our partner, we receive from them many times their default position. Okay, so if I, for example, feel that I'm trapped in a relationship and cannot be myself, she feels that she's not seen and she's insisting on the fact that he stops doing whatever he is used to doing and start doing things with her that take into consideration what's important to her, that he'd be happy with what she's happy with. As long as the more she does that, the more he feels trapped. Now he's not trapped, and she may be seen and not knowing it, or be just fine with not being seen, and then telling him or suggesting to him with love that he may come. Okay? So that's the relationship. But since the strategies are very strong, and since men are much more inclined to adopt, many times without knowing it, the AM realm or the AM frequency, meaning they look at the world as if it is a set of fixed ideas and fixed things, and the most you can do is to maneuver between them wisely, so that you get what you need and you don't lose what you have. Okay? So when they come from there, whoever, yes, men and women, but I again say, men are much more inclined to be in the AM realm, then they interpret the situation as part of that. And then from there, they feel that they're trapped, or they feel that they need to attack, and the woman doesn't understand anything. We've elaborated on that in the 2 previous sessions. What the lab is coming to do, trying to do, proposing, is to be like a collection of beginnings that actually say, when we acknowledge this, we acknowledge the AM and we acknowledge the FM, we acknowledge the differences, we acknowledge the implications of living our lives through the AM realm and living our lives out of the FM realm, and trying to be sometimes romantically in love and sometimes not just romantically in love, but partners in life. When someone is in the AM realm and someone is in the FM realm, okay? If we stop arguing with this, what is asked of us? How does the path look like? What are the next steps that we are asked to take, or that we see that we may take? And also what is the creativity, where would it take us? Okay, if I'm there and I'm actually, by acknowledging AM, FM, and acknowledging the strategies and the like ways of being that become us, then we're there to see what is asked of us and how would we go about it.
Can I talked with another friend about like men and women and all, and he said, you women, sometimes you set such a high standard of love and what is required and what is demanded of a relationship, that it's impossible to reach. And then you stay alone. And I thought about the lab. And I thought, what if he's right? But it's not a standard that I set. This is a standard that I am at. And the older I get, and the more I am studying and coaching and experiencing and accepting what I think is not my stories, but what I really am, I learn love anew, and I learn relationship anew, and I learn what it means for me to be in a relationship. And I can see my own personal evolution. I see the way I was with my partner 10 years ago, and he was telling me, no, where are you? You know, we're together, we're married, but you're not really here. And I would be like, man, what do you want from me? I'm here. But only now, looking back, I can say that he had a point. I wasn't there. Now, what does it mean? We can talk about it a lot, but basically, what it means is that I am still more concerned and worried and busy with getting what I want, not losing what I want. And it's like living in a FOMO, fear of missing out. Yeah, it's constantly thinking, what am I missing on the other side of the road? What is waiting for me behind the corner? Maybe there's another man, better one. And like all the, like, it's there. It's like a voice behind you that is constantly like, maybe there's more. You know, it's this a bit like a greedy voice that that knows no peace. And in the last decade, I really learned maturing out of this state of mind, out of this state of being. And the best way I can name it today is that I learned love anew. I'm learning love anew. And it's like going up a class. I know life is not linear, but it does feel to me like schooling, and you go up the classes. And now I'm scared that I reached a level that is really hard to match with my expectations and with my standard. And I'm seriously scared of not having a partner and not experiencing this magic again, because maybe this magic was an illusion all along.
Wait, don't speak about the magic.
Okay, so I'm going back.
Magic. No, you're not looking for the magic. That's not what you're looking for.
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. Maybe because I'm not looking for this magic anymore, I'm really entering a new realm of relationships. And I don't know who's there to match. And maybe this friend of mine, he's a 50 years old man, is not a kid. And he's saying, people don't know how to be like this. Men don't know how to be like this. So you're asking, it all started from you asking, like, this is a beginning. I feel like I'm in a beginning point, and I'm seriously thinking maybe this new phase calls for us, for me, to be in peace with the idea, with the option that I will not have partnership with a man like I wanted, like I dreamed, like I had. And what does it look like? What does it feel like to live when this is an option. It was never an option for me.
Yeah.
And I'm really on a new ground.
Yeah.
And it also feels arrogant to say, oh, I'm in this standard, I know love on a certain level. Who will match me? Come on.
You feel that it's arrogant, or you're afraid that people would think it's arrogant?
I don't know if this thought is just my fear to actually feel this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's also a voice in me saying, it cannot be. Cannot be that that there are no men that are capable of this, of matching your standard. I don't let myself believe in this, really. This is too much.
Okay. So actually the lab, if we continue, and maybe then you read something out of the lab. The lab is actually exploring those realms. It's exploring every possibility that may arise from whatever we've gone through during writing the book or reading the book. It's, you stand barefoot, not many clothes cover you, very connected to the earth, and very, your feet are very deeply rooted. And then you can see whatever flows, whatever allows us to, like pulling a thread, from something, like a wool, entangled within itself, and you're just pulling a thread. One of them is you maybe not, which is what you just touched upon. The assumption that we need to live with men, that we need to spend our lives with men, that we need to spend our lives with the same man, that we can spend our lives with the same man. These are basic assumptions that, on the one hand, are sometimes very hard to let go of, and they hold grief. In the letting go holds grief, and in disillusion, and so on. And at the exactly same moment, I can take a different turn and say, what have I not learned up till now that made it impossible for me to be with a man for a long time, or really to go through life, even for a certain period, with the man? That
Ask
is,
this again. What did I not yet learn? Yeah.
What have I not learned yet? What did I not figure out yet? What is the thing that is not coherent for me? What did I not let go of? What did I not agree to in order to be with a man? And I'm not speaking about going against myself or doing things that are out of, of needing something and being weak and looking for someone to protect me or to make me whole because I'm missing unless I'm with him. We're not talking from there. We're talking from, if I don't come from a lacking, then what do I see there? What Can I see, for example, that can I live with a man who would not be my best friend in a sense of contemplating deep things and making tough decisions in life? But I can be with a man who loves our children. So is that what it is? Okay, can I do that? Okay, can I? Or will I again and again feel as if I'm being...
Can it be quieter?
I hope she'd be enough. That is the real understanding that we are not condemned to a certain way of life on the one hand, and on the other hand, that we are really that we're not supposed to suffer, and we're not supposed to live our lives out of giving up on ourselves. And holding those two together, this is what the lab is all about. Okay, because then what we see is we're standing on new ground. Yeah? It's like the earth is now carrying us. It's not the illusions that we've created. You know, every time I'm in Venice, I feel that in a way, it's not real, because it was created as an island built on trees that were sunk in the sea. That's why it's also beginning to drown, because it was made, it was not there by nature. We used nature in order to build that, and it looks a bit like a Walt Disney movie. Yeah, there's something not human there, not natural there. Okay, because we did that. Sometimes feel the same in high-rise buildings. It's like we're provoking something. We're arguing with something that we shouldn't. The climate crisis now, it's because we are arguing with something instead of listening and acknowledging what is. So the permission, the inner permission to say maybe not, the inner permission to say maybe yes, even if I have a hard time, the permission to say maybe I need to lead and stop asking him to be a partner because he doesn't seem to lead us somewhere and I can. The option of being there, creating a new dimension with other women, inviting men to. The option of stopping to wait for men to deliver whatever we are used to think that they should or may deliver, without giving up on them, without stopping to love them. This is what the lab is all about. And that's why when we enter the lab, we need to immerse ourselves all together. First of all, as we are writing this, and this is why it takes time, because we need to go through each and every beginning with our own lives, okay? Allowing this. We've gone in those 2 years, both of us, we've gone through a lot concerning men. We've gone through pain and hope and anger and giving up on them and then coming back, and each one in her own phase of life, in her own age. Yeah, but we've gone through a lot and it wasn't easy. And there were times where you didn't want to listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, because you ruined it to me.
Yeah, in a way, I did.
And that's what I was thinking when I talked with my friend, and I was like careful with what I'm saying, because it can...
On one side, on one side, But the other side is that, and of course, I was thinking the same. I was saying to you, if you want to leave the book, go. If you don't want to write it anymore, allow yourself not to write it anymore. Because first of all, we really don't know what each path of our lives awaits for us. And on the other hand, it's also okay to say, it's too complicated for me, it's too painful for me. I'm afraid that I would start hating men because of what we're doing, and I don't want to hate men. Okay, it's okay. We don't need to be on our best appearances all the time. It's not real, it's not true. We can't. But on the other hand, and there is another hand, on the other hand, crushing ourselves again and again in the same illusions, age after age, generation after generation, maybe it's time to stop. Maybe it's time to stop enhancing. You know, even when you start speaking about the magic, and when you began to speak about it, you looked like a teenager speaking about that. And I sat here and I said, come on, in myself. I was talking to myself. I said, come on, Noah. You're not there anymore. Okay? And there is magic. There is magic. And there are different kinds of magic, and we shouldn't give up on them. But they would look differently, and they would also come from a really different place, yeah, which is not an illusion. They're coming from the source. They're overwhelming in their greatness, in them being miraculous and gorgeous and beautiful and surprising and shocking and rocking the boat. But they will come from being aware and not from creating illusions. One of my first real coaches said to me that he loves going to weddings because that's a place where you can very clearly see people getting into something that they have no idea what they're getting into. Okay? Now, if I embrace this, I will have one kind of life. And if I reject this or do everything in my power to keep this picture, this illusion for the rest of my life, then maybe I would go through many plastic surgeries. Maybe I would go through many denials and fog that I would spread on inside me and outside, trying to not see, trying to not grasp, trying to not feel what's really happening, and then fall into like a pier of an elevator without understanding how the hell this is happening and how did I not see. Okay, for example, when I'm coaching now a couple that is separating, and she wanted to separate, and he says, I don't get it. I don't see anything. Why does she want to separate? And I asked him, and I suggested to him with a smile and a lot of love, maybe it's time to ask, how did I not see? Because this is what she's separating from. Because if I live my life as a character in a movie or as a figure in a painting, then I need to wake up. Because life is not a painting. And it's good news that life is not a painting, and it's also not a movie.
Exactly. So I think this is the deepest switch. And it has two layers, like the switch of life is not a movie, it's not a script, it's not a picture, and it's not in my control. To switch from this is bad news to this is good news. And in order to do that, I need to go a step deeper and into the switch of I am not my needs. Because when I practice and practice knowing that I'm not my needs and nothing really happens to me, not really, when I don't get what I want or when I don't get what I think I need, I'm still here, I'm still gorgeous, I'm still vibrating, I'm still essential, then I'm really in life as it is, as I am in every moment. And I remembered now that you were talking that on one of our first fights, me and my ex, we were fighting, and I noticed that the fight is essential. Like there is something here. It's not like whatever. There's something here. There's a gap here in the way we approach life, and this will come again. And I am old enough to know that that's how it is when you fight. So I told him, let's not try to protect the relationship. Let's be very awake to the tendency that we have to not say this or not do that because we don't want to provoke, because we want to protect, because we want to stay together. Then let's not do that. Let's do our best to be genuine, to be authentic, to behave from where we're really at, to speak from where we're really at, and bring ourselves to the shared space of our relationship as we really are. Because any manipulation we will do on ourselves, we will pay the price at some point. If we're not real, this cannot be.
Yeah.
And I said it, and I got scared the second I said it, because I knew that now, if I'm keeping my word, if I'm going to walk this talk, nothing external will hold us together.
Right. And also not your fears. Because in order to walk your talk here, you need to feel the fear, of nothing is holding you, and you're also not blurring anything. You're not bending anything so that the boat won't be rocked. But you are saying what you need to say, and you are looking at what needs to be looked at. And that is rocking the boat. And it's rocking the boat not necessarily to a bad place, but it will show whatever needs to be seen now when the boat is rocked.
Yeah. And it will show the, like you say, the true nature of the relationship. And a relationship I don't think it's something that you and me and then there's together. I really feel that a relationship, any kind of relationship, is a third entity. It has its own character. It has its own voice. That's currently how I feel. And we don't only have to listen to ourselves, maybe not even at all. We want to listen to what the bond is asking us, what our shared, this third entity is saying. It's hard to know who I'm listening to. But I was asking myself, what if we listen to this? It's like when you do art. If you're busy with what you want and what you want to say and how you want to be heard, then you're doing your own. But if you're listening to the creation that you are currently serving, then another voice is guiding you.
But what would you work on? I mean, what would you pay attention to in order to create? What would you want to make sure that is well?
My first thought is that I would like to know, like to maybe even make a list, or like to know what are my fears, my needs. It doesn't mean that I will
So you're going back to yourself.
obey them. Exactly. I will go back to myself to see what's there
In order to?
in order to recognize it and maybe just be aware of that. So if I'm getting tempted to go that path, I will know that this is my need and fears. Maybe I will go for them, but at least I will know. I will not tell myself a story. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I will just try to be as less controlling as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Do my best to find peace, listen from silence, and I will get closer to the thing itself, whether it's a script I'm writing, music I'm writing, or a spouse that I'm that we want to listen to our joint creation, to the relationship. So getting closer, while knowing that we are not our fears and not our needs and not our desires. So, what are we and what is here?
Yeah.
And be very quiet with the answer. It will talk.
Yeah. We need to be quiet, but on the other hand, and it's complementary, whatever I'm saying is complementary to that silence and what you've just described beautifully. And that is that the voice needs to be heard, because if it is not heard, it is the past continues.
Which voice needs to be heard?
The voice that says, for example, when there's an argument like that, like you mentioned, and what you see is not that you're not agreeing on something, but that he doesn't want to see. Okay, that he's trying to push away really seeing something. And it doesn't happen once, it happens again and again. The voice of understanding that he's trying to push away because he thinks that he would know what to do with it, or that you would leave if you see him as he is, or that he is being criticized and is not willing to be criticized. And therefore, he would continue living as he understands himself, and that's it. And you just have to manage with it. The voice says, can you? Do you want to? Would you be happy if you would? And that is a voice that needs to be heard, because any answer given by those questions and more questions would create a new phase. And if I do not ask them, then actually I find myself complying to his fears and needs, even if I'm aware of mine. Okay? I can say something that is rocking the boat, as you said, but he may want to push it away.
Like in the couple that you are coaching, that like how didn't you noticed because you didn't let your boat be shaken.
Yeah. That's why sometimes I would be very silent after a couple speaks so that they hear the place they're listening from. They can hear the pre-assumptions that they come from, preconditions that they hold. And from there, they can look anew. And many times the woman would and the man wouldn't. Okay, he would be insistent that what he saw is the right thing and the only thing. And she needs to wake up and see the way that he sees it. Or he says, I can't go wherever, to higher standards. Yeah? Or I can't go. And when she sees that and acknowledges that, then she needs to know what she's doing. That's the lab. So if yes, but I do acknowledge that, how do I go about it? What are my first steps? What are my new basic assumptions or my new principles that I go by, not in order to make sure that these are the right principles, but in order to understand better that these are the principles or these are the understandings that lie on my path for the next period in my life. Okay, and then look from there. Good.
Okay, I have a feeling we are not done yet, but I think the next series will be from a new place.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
Maybe with a guest.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.